So, President Trump is heading to Vietnam today ahead of his second summit with North Korean dictator Kim Jong Un. The two-day meeting is scheduled to begin on Wednesday. It follows a similar summit in Singapore last June, as the U.S. pushes for North Korea to give up its nuclear weapons. After those talks, the president said that the country no longer posed a threat. But the Pentagon strongly disagrees. Now some lawmakers have expressed concerns the president will make concessions to Kim without getting much in return. Steven Portnoy is in Hanoi, Vietnam, with more details.
On the eve of his departure for Vietnam, President Trump told a gathering of the nation's governors he's developed a very good relationship with Kim Jong Un.
We have a special feeling, and I think it's going to lead to something very good, and maybe not. I think ultimately it will, but maybe not.
Since the two met in Singapore last June, progress toward denuclearization in North Korea has been slow. Last night, Mr. Trump signaled he's flexible about the timetable.
I'm not in a rush. I don't want to rush anybody. I just don't want testing. As long as there's no testing, we're happy.
Here in Vietnam, the president intends to sell Kim on the economic benefits of giving up his country's nuclear weapons. On Face the Nation, Massachusetts Democratic Senator Ed Markey told CBS's Margaret Brennan Mr. Trump may show he's too eager to make a deal.
We could run the risk that Kim is given concessions which are not accompanied by real concessions that the United States is receiving in return from Kim and his regime.
You're saying the president's going to get played?
I think that he has to be very careful going in.
Before heading for Asia, the president made plans for his next summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping at Mar-a-Lago next month. There, he hopes to finalize a landmark trade deal. The president says the broad package of tariffs that would go into effect early next month have been put on hold again. Anne-Marie?
CBS News State Department reporter, or rather Steven Portnoy, thank you. Now we have CBS News State Department reporter Christina Ruffini joining us now from Hanoi. Thank you so much for joining us, because I don't know what time it is there, but it's certainly not early in the morning. So let me ask you this. We just heard President Trump say that, he's going to be happy as long as North Korea doesn't conduct any missile tests. Is he lowering his expectations ahead of this meeting?
Well, if you're looking for an answer to how do you solve the problem of North Korea, we're probably not going to get that here in Hanoi. And one of the biggest problems is the United States and North Korea still haven't agreed on what exactly denuclearization means. Does that mean they give up even a peaceful nuclear program? Does that mean they give up just the weapons? Does that mean they give up the fuel? So, that's point one, and they're stuck on that stumbling block. What we should be looking for is not a big banner headline per se, not a solution to the North Korean nuclear problem, but a roadmap. If they come out of this summit with an agreement that the U.S. and North Korea will meet on this date, we will discuss these steps, and here's how we're going to go about this process, then that will be progress, if not maybe, the banner announcement that President Trump would like to be able to tweet out at the end of the summit.
So the president framed the first summit as a win. But officials, including his own national security advisor, John Bolton, have said that North Korea is not denuclearizing, that North Korea continues to be a threat. So, what is the truth here? Has North Korea become less of a threat since the first summit in Singapore last year?
It depends on who you ask. If you ask the administration, they would say yes, because they say there haven't been any more nuclear tests, and they're doing things like returning remains from the war and making signs that they're willing to negotiate. But actually, they haven't ever stopped manufacturing fissile material, and that's the nuclear fuel that you use to build those weapons. In the North Koreans' defense, they never agreed to do that. However, those capabilities are ongoing. So the North Korean threat per se is not any less than it was before Singapore. Current estimates range that they have anywhere from enough fuel to make anywhere from about 20 to 60 weapons. And going after that fuel and figuring out how to handle it, even if North Korea agrees to start denuclearizing, will be one of the first priorities of these agreements and of that roadmap I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, this roadmap or framework looking forward. If they can agree to something, what would that generally look like? What are some of the issues that may be specific to North Korea?
One of the biggest problems with North Korea is, unlike other agreements we've seen, like the JCPOA, which is the Iran nuclear agreement that the U.S. has now pulled out of, is North Korea has or alleges to have functioning nuclear weapons, right? So even if they agree to stop making new ones, there's still the issue of what do you do with the ones they have. At one point, there was this kind of theory that, okay, well, someone will go in there and gather them all up and put them on an airplane and fly them out. That's kind of been, that's not a great idea. So now the issue becomes, how do you dismantle them? No nuclear scientist wants to go in and dismantle someone else's nuclear bomb, right? This is just not a good idea. Nuclear technology in North Korea is a strange hybrid of Soviet, Pakistani, and homegrown technology. So you want to make sure the person taking apart that bomb knows what they're doing and is the person who put it together. So then you have to come up with some sort of framework where those weapons will go into a facility, they'll get dismantled by somebody who knows what they're doing, knows what's in them, knows how to pull them apart safely, and then they have to have all those pieces come out the other side and have a way to verify that with nuclear watchdogs and international communities. So that's something that we would have to work out and figure out how to do it in a way that we haven't really seen in other countries so far.
You know, we keep talking about a total denuclearization of North Korea. North Korea has talked about total denuclearization of the entire Korean peninsula, which is hence there's a lot of differences about what sort of the goal is here. But realistically, what's the likelihood of North Korea getting to the point where the regime would actually be willing to give up its nuclear weapons?
It's hard to tell. It's going to depend on how much Kim Jong Un wants to be a part of the international community. And we've seen signs that he does. You know, before the Singapore summit, he went for a walk in downtown Singapore, which is this glittering modern city. And, you know, there are signs that he would like Pyongyang to look like that. One of the reasons people think they're doing the summit in Vietnam is to say to the North Koreans, you know, look, this could be you if you, give in to these demands, denuclearize, and open it up for sanctions to drop and to get international investment in your country. The problem is it's difficult to understate how important the nuclear program is to the North Koreans. It's something they've been developing over 50 years, and it's intrinsically ingrained in their national identity. It's not something they're going to give up very easily unless they're getting something very big in return. So it's a calculation. What are we willing to give them in order to have them give up their program, and is it worth it, and does it make us safer in the end?
Right. Christina, thank you so much.